Greetings, Dave. How you doing? You're muted.
Hanging in there, my friend.
All right, good. Good. So you want to try sharing a screen?
Why not?
Okay, looking good.
All right, so so we have our PowerPoint. And then I have the map that we worked on for sharing with client agencies. I am not going to feature the utility or the free map because it's not really, for some reason, it's not connecting to our data.
Yeah, I don't see why that is because it's drawing from the same data you're editing.
Well, wish me luck that I can hold myself together in terms of this, whatever it is I'm fighting.
Yeah, how you doing with that?
Drinking lots of water.
All right. Well, let's hope you don't flood the place out.
So that's that part. Yeah, really, I think we're there.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and put that puppy up there and commence, and then at 10 o'clock, I'll remind everybody they're muted and they need to put their questions in the chat.
All right.
And you think it's okay we wait till the end until we start knocking those out?
All the questions I think should probably should wait until the end because you know how easily distracted I am.
Well, that's why I'm here, Dave.
and this can get explosive, the subject.
Yeah.
Because I'm already going to drill down with the link to show how deep we can go. Is this the red pill or is this the blue pill?
Well, it's the Dave pill. So,
yeah.
I'll interrupt you with 10 and 5 minutes to go just to give you a time hack.
Yes, please do. Because once I get started, we could be here next week.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid we'd be alone.
No, I don't know. It'll be interesting. You know what I'm thinking? I think people might find it interesting what we've set up here. Now that we have the tools in place.
Yeah. Do this once and repeat.
Well, we're going to build that framework, and then all the other wonderful things can spin off of it that we haven't even thought about.
Yep.
So for some reason, I see a PowerPoint presentation over here on this other screen.
Yeah, it gives you a fake that you can make edits on. No, you won't see me.
Okay.
I don't have a camera.
Oh, well, that's fine. That's fine. We'll have fun with it. And when we get into the questions section, if it gets too technical, I'm going to have to, have you chime in on the technical stuff because I'm just the data guy.
You're the business owner. You're the customer.
The collector of data.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've been playing along with some of the MPH stuff, and they've actually got some, let's say, online classes on how to do data analytics, starting very basically and then moving up through probability and statistics, and it's refreshing.
Well, I already know that you have your spinoffs in Homeland, which, this is what this is trying to assist you guys as well. So we're tag teaming this thing together.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is when you collect data well, you can build on it.
And we're working closely with NDOT and DNR so far. So yeah, I think it's coming along way further than where we thought we would be.
Yep.
Wow, I watched the Python generator stuff. That just pretty much lost me. But I think that's some of the stuff, the toolage you're doing in the background for the viewer stuff that I have no clue.
Yep.
I don't need to know that.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. That's where a lot of the audience will be positioned, is in the back office.
These guys, I feel, I don't mean to say embarrassed, but good golly, the folks over there doing all of the addressing stuff, they got multi-millions of items, in their data sets, and here we come up with a few thousand. Woohoo!
Well, it's
Hi,
all
good
about the
morning,
content. Oh,
Roger
there she is.
and David. I'm just going back and forth.
Hi.
Everything going okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
we're just chatting.
Okay, so the recording has already started, and there's
Oh.
people in the audience right now. They can hear everything that you guys say.
Okay.
But don't worry, when we publish the videos, I will be clipping this all out. But just know that there's already 17 people here also. Okay.
Yep, that's good.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm very happy. Everything going okay? David, you sound great. You have your presentation, and Roger's a spectacular room monitor, so she'd be great. I'll be going back and forth. So if you need anything, Roger, call me, email me, text me, whatever, but I'll be going back and forth, okay?
Yeah, thanks. You have a great day, okay? Everything
you.
I've seen so far has come together wonderfully. Thank you so much for your work.
Yes, GIS Day has just been really great. And it's, by the way, if you want to announce, Roger, this is actually real GIS Day. So there you go.
I'll be darned.
On a national level. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. So your wife let you out of the basement, huh?
No, I'm still in the basement.
A new backdrop.
I changed the backdrop a little bit, turned on some lights so you can actually see me.
I don't know. It was pretty spooky down there yesterday.
That was pretty weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lights out. All I had was the screen glow on my face.
In the bowels of state government where all this data resides. Yeah.
Well, that's true. Sort of in the background.
All right. Are you collecting admission for this, or am I? Am I supposed to be doing that?
Man, I don't know how many hams we're going to come up with on this. Well, the COVID-19 test came back negative. I'm good.
Oh, good.
Now I just need to fight bronchitis. I'm authorized to have a meeting with my doctor now.
You can go see the doctor.
I can go meet with the doctor and find out what I've got
nice.
yucky going on. There you go.
Yeah,
Welcome
back
to
when
the day.
This fun stuff started, I had my annual going on and walked out of the office to go home, and one of the nurses is spraying the halls down with Lysol. It's like, whoa.
Wow. Oh, here
Took
we
me
go.
a year to find out it was just because they had something foul in the air. It wasn't a virus. I was like, oh,
Finding out all
thanks.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do my best.
Well, good. We expect nothing but the best.
Well, Roger, I wasn't nervous until Amanda got on there and told me we have 17 people out there already.
Well, we're up to 28.
Oh, holy cow.
Yep.
Hi, everybody.
This is kind of weird because you don't really get the feedback.
Right. Like I was doing on the others, I had everybody turned on the sidebar and in the chat area, and I could see all that activity. But here, that's just a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Well, we got a few folks saying hello. Ashley's sending you her best wishes.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess maybe I have talked a lot on this.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're able to roll it out now.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple minutes to go in the countdown and then we'll kick off, eh?
Roger Dodger. Do you have any elevator music you can put on for a minute?
I could sing, but that was banned by the Geneva Convention.
Go. Oh, that's funny.
All right, we're at 45 guests.
All right.
A couple more, we'll deem you a virus. Okay, folks, welcome to GIS Day. As Amanda just reminded us, this is the National GIS Day. And what a wonderful day it is. Greetings to you from me, Roger Colpeen. I'm one of the GIS crew over here at the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. And it's my honor and unique privilege to be able to introduce to you today Mr. David Huntley from our Department of Administration. And David's background goes back to the previous century, working electrical design and engineering. And just after the turn of the century, he came out of the private sector and came to Department of Administration through about 2009. And with that, house cleaning and tree trimming and general staff diminishment in state government, he went back out to the private sector and came back in 2014 where he's been diligently working away at this problem for a long time, Dave.
That's true.
So here, without much further ado, well, wait, got to go through some reminders, some housekeeping.
Okay.
Everybody, you're on mute. So please, as the questions pop up, enter them into the chat, and we'll leave time at the end to try to address those. Dave, I'm going to bug you at 10 and 5 minutes to go, rudely interrupting you. Yeah.
Please do.
And I wish you the best of luck. So now, without further ado, here's David Huntley
with
the framework for management of state-owned asset data. Take it away, Dave.
You bet. Thanks for that intro. That was very nice. So what I want to do in this presentation today, it's a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to provide you today, and then we're going to get to the map. Everybody in our GIS community and GIS community are familiar with the maps and so on. So all you see on the map is a bunch of what I call zits all over the place. So let's go and find out how we got this all set up so that we could collect the data and put it on the map. So let's start here. As Roger said, this is my brief background. And what I want to emphasize here is recognition that this was not in and of myself, but down here I had a lot of contributors that plugged in effort on this project. Brian Renner is our deputy commissioner. Irv Goldblatt has been, I've been bugging him all the time, has helped me over the years. Mike Martin, you guys may remember from DNR, was instrumental in getting me started on the collection process. And now Roger, and he's been really helpful here in trying to help me convey this information to our client agencies. And then the list just goes on and on from every client agency that I had to contact in order to collect the data from them on their assets. So here was the problem that was identified by the SBA. They had all of these asset reports that they were collecting from all the various agencies, but we didn't have a good, accurate way of indicating where these assets were located. So back in 2012, we started to generate what it would look like to have this geolocated data. And now we're well over 12,000 assets in the table right now. This was started as an incentive, just an initiative program. But now that we've got the map developed, it has now turned into an ongoing continuous framework that we are developing as assets come online and as assets get retired and taken offline. So this is a revolving program that is going to continue, well, for a long time. That's the way we look at it. So the project goal was to create and maintain this inventory of the state-owned assets. And in doing so, we found out that it's going to help us in improving our budget planning, our capital project planning, how we go about budgeting for preventative maintenance and operations of that sort. And there's just a lot of side benefits that are spinning out of this thing. And there's stuff that we haven't even thought about that we're going to be able to use this mapping system for our assets. Again, we started way back with a group of people that aren't even listed here any longer. Brian Renner was there all the way through this whole thing. He's championed this from the very beginning. And I have a few other key people in Clarkson and Jeff Motz, now that he's over in DNR. He used to be over in NDOT. Lauren remains over there in NDOT. I have other people that have come and gone. Again, Roger and Ashley have been very, very instrumental in this most recent version of the map that we're working on. And we're going to be looking for some people to champion this down in our client agencies as we get deeper. So we are looking for those kind of people to come alongside us with this project as we continue forward. So let me go back and identify some of the key factors that helped us collect the data. So first we had to determine what it was that we wanted to inventory. What is it we want to collect? So we had to set those parameters, and that's what we did here. It's a man-made structure and altered earthwork. It's defined for a purpose. It's permanent. It has a time existence here of greater than 90 days for an indefinite period of time. Now, in the 2009 accounting code, it says that we're supposed to inventory everything from $500 greater in value. Well, after we started getting in here, DAPW elected to raise this to $5,000 at this point. If you want to get into the equipment, the computers, chairs, and stuff that are contained, in the buildings, that's a whole other aspect that could be generated later. We just wanted to get the large assets put on the planet. By the same token, we had to identify what assets we didn't want to collect data on. And these are usually agencies that are quasi self-funded type programs. And so you're looking at college universities, fairgrounds, the White River State Park, and there's some museums and things of that nature. And we do not do the actual federal roads, bridges, and the lights along the freeways and stuff of that nature. But we will pick up the roadside rests that we are responsible for maintaining and this sort of thing out of NDOT. Now, over in IFA, Brian tells me there's only one building that they have left that's bonded under their charge, which is the NDI Neuro Diagnostics Center over there on the 16th. And that's bonded, so we don't own it yet, but as soon as the bonds are paid off, then that'll be transferred over to DAPW to maintain thereafter. So that's how that works. So in your table that you have associated with your map, we had to define what all those fields were across the top of the table. And this is the breakdown for what those assets and those fields are. So we have, these are the identifiers. We have the business unit number, we have the use agency, we have the agency code, we have IDOA subdivision. Now the subdivision for IDOA is used for example, DOC has three regions in the state. There's the north, central, and south. DNR, for example, has, oh my gosh, they've got state parks, state forest. You get the idea. It's pretty crazy. So I've tried to go out and identify those by those divisions. Then we had to determine how we were going to label or brand the site and then the objects on the site. So when we were developing this and we were communicating with NDOT had already a numbering system in play, but it was only 6 digits. The first 2 digits identified the county, the second was the site in that county, and then the last 2 was the object on the site. Well, when we decided to go statewide, we felt that numbering system was limiting, but we liked the idea and the concept of it. So we expanded it to basically this 5-digit number, the first 2 being the county and the next 3 being the site within the county, and then the last 3 are the objects on the site. So that's how that evolved. And the site names are from the client agencies. There's the 8-digit number, which is the whole, first the site, and then you have the the whole 8-digit number expanded. Then we had to come up with a structure name, which is given to us by the facilities. Structure classification, we had to define what those are. I'm going to show you that here in just a second, so hang on to that idea. Structure class is very important because we have I'm going to get it in a minute here. The tag number is an agency-driven number. The asset ID number is pivotal from, so here we have the ArcGIS side on one side of the equation, and then we have PeopleSoft on the other side of the equation, two databases that are working together. So the idea was we would brand the object, locate it, and then bring down the asset ID number and its related financials out of PeopleSoft and merge that into a common table that made all of that information at your fingertips. So then at that point, you would get upon substantial completion, you would get the acquisition date, you would get the cost sum that put the item on the planet. And if it's a building, in this case, we have the square footage of the building. We are working on defining other aspects like pavement, fencing, retention ponds, communications, other things that we're trying to break down numbers on. So when we capitalize, we will be able to identify all those at one time at the conclusion of a project, a new site, a new set of buildings, and so on and so forth. Well, then we looked back at collecting all the existing data. And so we found out that while we were doing this exercise, that some of our buildings weren't occupied. So we had to create another field here to say whether or not we're even using the thing. And then did we go to the point where we demoed it? So these little indicators here tell us what's going on the site. Now, what's really neat and exciting that has allowed us to do a lot of this recent stuff is when ISHRA went to the URL-based software like Pro, and then they opened up the gates to the URL navigation in the cloud. Now, SharePoint works off of that URL-based storage system, which is kind of like really cool because it's kind of like, to me, it seems to be unlimited on data. So Roger and I kind of put this link to folder field in there. And that's on another slide down here I'm going to show you in a minute on how that works. Usually IDOA predominantly is the owner agency of all of these assets. And then we went ahead and put some other fields in here like street name, city, zip, so on. Then we created another field for two-way communication between us and the client agencies on explanations of assets, where we can put it into the table and we can communicate in the map directly. Counting X, 6-digit accuracy on our X and Y coordinates. And then there's, of course, all of the software generated stuff I'm not going to list here, fields that comes with the software. So let's get over into this link to folder that I talked about a minute ago in that field. So this is in SharePoint now. So one of the issues that we had in Public Works is trying to identify drawings and information of the most recent project that was done in a particular discipline. For example, when was the last time we replaced the roof on this structure, or so on and so forth. So we developed a SharePoint file site that has all the files for all of our archives that we are migrating from our Active Directory off the network. We are renaming them and putting them into this format that you see here in this page. And we've gone out and created all these subfolders for every asset that we own. It's like 12,000 folders or whatever. the idea is that once those folders are in play, then we can deposit into them bid documents, drawings. I mean, everything from the day that we, conceived the project, the designer, files and all that stuff is what we're going to warehouse in here as a repository. Let me go back. So in here, for example, if you're in the map and you see one of these links come up, you can go right in and click on it normally. And now it just takes you to SharePoint, okay? For example, so this is our campus downtown Indianapolis, okay? The government center. And so if you'll look through here, I have tried to get, files arranged from when it came online in terms of availability, like 1946. There's some really old stuff in here. I mean, it's, you look at this stuff and you go, what? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm going to back out of this. And then you can see the idea here is the map can get me to this data pretty quickly. So you're looking at this stuff and one of the things I saw under the inventory was, well, what do you have there at the government center? I have no clue. Well, let's take a look at this table here in the spreadsheet. These are all of the capital items at the government center in all of the various buildings. And in this case, air handler units all around the campus and so on and so forth. Now, I haven't gotten this one completed yet, but you can see that you can see that my indicator is only up here, and you saw me winging down through all of these fan coil units and all this stuff. And you can see what I'm talking about here on how you could do a breakdown on all this. I'm not going to dispel. I'm going to back out of this. I'm just showing you a drill down. Trending data. So we were talking about roof replacements and so on, and fire alarm systems. As you go down and start to look at these titles here, you can see what was done and what was updated, so on and so forth. All right, I don't want to stay here any longer. I want to get back to our map. So this was a great spin-off tool because when you're out in the field, what's nice about this URL-driven software is I have it on my iPad. I can go to the map in my iPad. I can click on the dot in my iPad, and I can go to SharePoint on my iPad, and I can access the data directly that's been saved for a particular structure or building that I'm working on. I might be in a conference room at the facility I'm talking to, and there we are. There's the information. So here's what we had to define. So we went across the top of our table with all the fields, and now we're going to go vertical down through the facility structures, communication structures, transportation structures, marine, site, and so on. All right. So then we give a little definition of what that means to us so that when we put it into the map table, we are properly segmenting the classifications of structures that we are going to be tracking financially. So based on all of that criteria I just gave you above, oh my God, when I think about where we started back in 14, 15, I went out to PeopleSoft. I had to get trained on pulling AM reports. Like I said, Mike gave me a good injection of DNR stuff to get started with, but all of the other data you'll see in the map here in a second was generated by grunt work, going from spreadsheets to the table and branding that asset ID number for every one of these items I'm going to show you in the map here in a second. So I completed the first pass, was just to get them on the map. We assigned the numbers, or we stamped it with the brand. Think of it as cows getting branded. And then we started maintaining all that information. And now that we've added the Sharepoint element to the process, we are now migrating all of that digital data up from our directory, our network system, into the Sharepoint system. Oh my God, that's another big project. And we're doing our best to merge the two databases together. The GMIS side, the PeopleSoft asset ID number and its related acquisition date and so on, and some cost with the location of the item in our mapping system. It worked great initially with all of the DNR people and NDOT that had all of those numbers all well done. And then I started to get over into other agencies, and they come to find out they didn't have their asset ID numbers readily available in PeopleSoft. And that's not to say it doesn't exist, guys. What it means is we had a number of different accounting systems that these buildings and structures came into the state under. And I don't know that they've all been converted over to our 12-digit number today, the asset ID numbers we know today. So I'm going to show you what we're doing on that here in a second. So what we're doing here is, after we identified that, we kind of got to an impasse. So we had to come up with some other thing to do here. So in the long-term activity between DAPW and our client agencies, I asked Roger, how can I communicate and collect this data out of our client agencies up into our map without me, the sole person here in public works, doing all that myself? So he built us a user interface. Now, under that user interface, we will be able to collect the additional information that's missing from my table right now. This is where we stand right now. If anybody's interested in tabulated data per agency, these guys over here don't count. Okay, we don't. These are quasi Indiana State Museums and Historic Sites and IFA. They tell me that they're down to one, but my records show he's got like quite a few structures that are still out there. He's going to look into it. Brian is going to look into that. So what is a facility? Well, it's not. It's a site that has an active building on it that is occupied, by staff, is what I call a facility site. So that's why you don't see, like over here in IPSC, for example, that's why you don't see all these communication buildings as being a site, okay? Or, I mean, a facility. So this is how I rolled that up into these sums here on facilities across this table. And again, here's your definitions that are part of what all this is about. So I don't want to go to questions just yet. I do want to break out of the PowerPoint, however. If you'll bear with me a moment. Because I do want to go to what Roger and Ashley have built for us. So this is that user interface map. So this is a web viewer that's editable, and it's only editable by those people that have the proper credentials, ID badges, and so on and so forth, that allow you access through permissions to take a look at this stuff. So when a person is interested in let's say, like Logansport, for example. I don't remember exactly if it's Logansport State Hospital or what, you know what I'm saying? This user interface will just zoom into everything known with Logansport in the name, okay? And when we zoom in here, I'm gonna try and clarify this a little better. So we've got stuff downtown, we've got stuff NDOT and stuff out here, you know what I'm saying? But when you get right here to the entrance to the Logansport, for example, we can clear this filter. Then I can just click on the site. And then I can scroll down for more information about this particular site. This will take me to my SharePoint system for that site. And what you'll see, what we've done here is we've put all of the capital improvement projects under the site. So here's where you're going to find rehabilitation of electrical systems. We're going to see installation of coolers that are in several different units. All your water, sewer, oh my gosh, boilers, steam work, tunnel work. Oh my gosh, we had tunnel problems up there we had to take care of. But I wanted to show you is you're seeing these years that are marching down this left side of the column, which has got everything automatically sorted based on what was done and when it was done, which makes it so quick to go see what was the last time. Oh, this is when we did the roofs. Oh, I see. Oh, cool. How much did that cost? Well, I don't know. Oh, cool. There you go. That's a drill down. All right. So this user interface is what I want to share with the clients, because what do I want from the clients? Well, I need some information. So when we come back to Pro, if you'll look over here in these columns I was talking about, there are some agencies that have good information, asset ID numbers, acquisition dates, and cost sums, but I might be missing square footages of what that building represents. So I have sent out a survey with this table for, in this case, NDOT, asking them to go back and look at these in the map and provide the square footages of all of these buildings that we put on the planet. So I think this is really cool. I do appreciate it so much. Everybody's efforts. And as you can see, it gets crazy when, especially when you get up in DNR and you get into all these parks and stuff. This is all their stuff. And that's what I said. Their maps, you know, just a big zit.
Really?
It is. So let's scroll down through this table, and I think we're ready for any questions, Roger, on where we're at, how we got here.
Yeah, you've done wonderfully as far as the time goes. So questions, folks?
That was
something that David didn't touch on is the level of effort he's had to spend on documenting these procedures, including the name conventions, some of the definitions and stuff like that, so that the partner agencies can contribute good data, clean data, to better inform the whole. And you've been working on that for a couple of years too, right?
Well, the SOPs and stuff, we knew that most recently we were going to be adding staff to Public Works, and we didn't really have a user guide. So I started working with the committee to develop some of that. Let me get over here to just 1 moment, please, as I go over here.
Okay, there's a question here. Why did you choose SharePoint to work with?
The URL. When I was using the desktop, I had no way to get to a folder that I could link the data to in Active Directory off the network. And when they opened up the URL ability to tap into a file system, which a lot of people are really familiar with using, I jumped on it. I jumped on it like a heart attack.
And the Active Directory piece is pretty important. I don't know if anybody noticed the absence of, but when you went from the ArcGIS Online map through the link, your credentials in Active Directory for ArcGIS Online transferred with you into SharePoint, and you didn't have to log in again.
Or let's say, for example, you haven't been logged into SharePoint. It'll have your credentials right there come up like you do when you go into the map. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can go directly into SharePoint without the map.
Yeah, you're logged into the computer and it'll recognize you logged in. You click on your name and then it allows you access into the SharePoint. So all of this is permission-driven data that I'm talking about that are for our state partners. This isn't out there in the private sector. This is all state-based driven architecture here.
We've got another question. If an asset is not listed, if you notice that it's missing, how do you get it added? Want to go through that workflow a little bit?
Ooh, well, I add it. I have to go out and inject it in there. So how do we do that? Well, okay, so I've got to create a feature. I got to put it on the planet where this new site or this new element is, and I have to fill out all this stuff on this table. Is that good enough for an answer, or do you want to see something more detailed?
I think that gets it. How much of that do you delegate to the partner agencies?
Well, right at this point, here's how we're looking at new objects on the site. New objects on the site is traditionally coming out of Public Works to start with. Either we are overseeing the financials for an NDOT or for a DNR project financially. We know about the capital improvement or the capital addition that is being made on the planet. And having that information and knowledge gives us the opportunity to add this asset information here on these attributes and plug that in to the map. And so as a part of our project management system, when we come out to close out documentation stages, we're going to be asking for a breakdown on buildings, fences, pavement, retention ponds, communication in terms of categorical blocks of data with blocks of finances when they capitalize, PeopleSoft will automatically assign that asset ID number at that point, which is a random generated number. We want that number back from the client agency so that we can inject those new elements at a site or develop a new site in a county somewhere.
Okay, so the technology and the permissions lend themselves very nicely to these existing workflow.
Yeah, on the new stuff, we would like probably Public Works to assist the agency on that process of adding elements to the map. On existing items, that's what I am combing through right now, what I said. when I put the
Rehabbing the
reports.
table. the
Yeah,
existing
where
data.
we're
Okay.
asking for the square footages and stuff that we don't have readily available, they do. And then they're going to send that back to me in a spreadsheet form that has, it's going to carry all of my asset numbers here. That's going to carry all of my numbers because I sent this table to them to start with, and now they're just going to fill in the spreadsheet, the missing data here. And then we'll just merge it and drive that data back into this table when I collect the responses back from the agencies.
Okay.
I hope that made sense.
All right. Yeah. So, any more questions, folks? Give you back about 10 minutes of your time. David, you got anything else you want to say?
Well, we're just we're like I said earlier in other presentations and so on and so forth. I'm just looking forward to working with our client agencies to make all of this living document process realized across our agencies, across the state, as we move forward. And then I'm hoping that eventually we can collect digital file from our client agencies to put in the folders in this repository state, so that we can have a one-stop shop that everybody goes to for current information on our assets. And I thank you for your time. For those of you that joined in, I hope you gleaned something from that, and your heads are spinning in terms of where you might be able to use this as a tool in the work that you do at your facilities, or just location of state-owned assets. So that's all I have.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, David. And there's
All
Amanda
right.
just on time.
Hey, absolutely. And I just want to invite everyone to our final presentation that we're going to be doing as a closing with our GIO, Megan Compton, and it starts at 11:50. And you guys have been great. David, what a great presentation you gave.
Well,
I'm
thank
so
you.
happy with you. I'm sure you guys would agree with that entirely. And Roger, great job also. But please join us for our final presentation at 11:50. We look forward to
Very
seeing
good.
you. Bye-bye now.
Very
Alrighty,
good.
folks. Bye-bye. Have a good
Thank
afternoon.
you. Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks, David.
You bet.